Sometimes JRPGs come out and they don't receive well. Sometimes it can be a stacked release schedule, sometimes it can be false promises. But once the dust settles and it's been a year, 2 years or longer, sometimes it's worth giving these games another go. In today's video I go through a number of JRPGs that definitely deserve a second chance. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Fire Emblem Engage received mixed reviews with several common criticisms. Many players found the story to be shallow and the characters less engaging compared to previous entries like Fire Emblem Three Houses. The narrative is often described as predictable and lacking depth. The dialogue was frequently criticised for being cringy and overly simplistic. Some players felt that the interactions between characters were not as compelling or meaningful as in past games, and the social and relationship building aspects, which were a highlight in Three Houses, felt half-hearted and underdeveloped in Engage. Despite these criticisms though, the combat system in Engage was actually really good. The game reintroduced the classic weapon triangle system, so sword beats axe, axe beats lance, lance beats sword, which added a strategic layer to battles. A new addition is the break mechanic as well, where attack an enemy of a weapon they are weak against can break their stance, preventing them from counter-attacking. This again added depth to engagements, making position and weapon choice even more critical. The Engage system allowed characters to merge with Emblem rings, granting them powerful abilities and stat boosts. It added a dynamic element to battles, and players could strategically decide when to use these powerful transformations. The game also offered a wide range of unit types, each with unique strengths and weaknesses. For example, armoured units are resistant to physical attacks but vulnerable to magic, while flying units are highly mobile but weak to archers. Overall, the elements for the combat system combined to make a really deep and engaging combat system. Now, if you can overlook the poor story, it's worth giving this one a go, but do bear in mind if you are going into this just focusing on the story, you're going to be left quite disappointed. Wild Arms 2 was not very well received by a lot of critics and did receive mixed reviews upon its release. Wild Arms 2 is set in the world of Filgaia, a planet with science fiction, steampunk and traditional fantasy elements, such as magic and demons. Firearms called arms represent Filgaia's ever-growing warfare technology, and unlike the first Wild Arms, are not considered inherently dangerous. Similar technology is used to create other mechanical weaponry, including cybernetic limbs and miniature robots. Other forms of high technology such as aircraft, motorised vehicles and radio devices also appear through some of their usage, and it's attributed to magic rather than science. The game does feature a complex and intriguing plot with numerous twists and turns. The narrative explores themes of heroism, sacrifice and the struggle between good and evil, which keeps players invested. The characters in Wild Arms 2 are well developed, each with their own backstories and motivations. And as I mentioned, the game blends elements of sci-fi, fantasy and the Wild West, creating a unique and memorable world. The setting distinguishes it from the other RPGs of its time. Wild Arms 2 offers a mixture of traditional turn-based combat and puzzle-solving elements, and each character has unique abilities that are used to solve puzzles and navigate dungeons, adding variety to the gameplay. Despite some criticism, such as a subpar translation, Wild Arms 2 remains a beloved title for many RPG fans due to its rich story, memorable characters and unique settings, and it's one that everyone should give a go if they are into their JRPGs. Final Fantasy XIII definitely comes under a lot of criticism. One of the most common criticisms was how linear it was, and the story is considered quite convoluted and difficult to follow with a complex lore that wasn't always well explained. Some characters were also seen as less compelling and relatable. With the combat as well, while some appreciated the paradigm shift system, others found it very simplistic and repetitive, and the auto battle feature in particular is criticised for reducing player engagement. The game's pacing was another point of contention. It takes a long time for the game to open up and introduce more freedom, which did lead to frustration for many players. However, once you get to about the halfway point, the game really does open up and really does improve. If you can sit out through this, you'll really start to enjoy the game in the second half and appreciate it for what it was. I'd say the game was praised for its stunning graphics and beautiful art design. The environments, character models and special effects were considered top notch for its time. The The soundtrack was great as well and received widespread acclaim. The music was noted for its emotional depth and ability to enhance the game's atmosphere. The game was a technical showcase for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 at the time, demonstrating the capabilities of those consoles with its high production values and seamless transitions between cutscenes and gameplays. While it was criticised for how linear it was, and that was a major point of criticism, some players did appreciate the focused and streamlined experience, which allowed them to enjoy the story and combat without getting lost in side quests. In the end, Final Fantasy XIII had its strengths and weaknesses, and its reception largely depended on the individual player preferences. But if you've been thinking about playing this for many years, it's been out for quite a while now, and you can find it really cheap online, it's definitely worth giving this one a go. For the purpose of explaining what this game was trying to achieve, and in my opinion it does a good job of it, it's worth mentioning that this game was advertised as a Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem crossover. However, it's a bit distorted if I'm honest, as the cast from Fire Emblem who assist in battle literally do work in the same way as Personas. For me that's fine because I love Persona. Some would say this is a Persona clone, but personally I don't think there's anything wrong with piggybacking off the success of a popular game series, as long as you bring something fun and different to the table. Tokyo Mirage Sessions blends elements from the Persona and Fire Emblem series, creating a unique experience that applies to fans of both franchises. The combat is turn-based and features a system called Sessions, where players can chain attacks by exploiting enemy weaknesses. This mechanic adds depth and strategy to battles, making them more exciting and dynamic. Set in modern day Tokyo, the game is infused with J-pop culture, colourful visuals and a lively atmosphere. The setting and style are refreshing and distinct, providing a joyful and immersive experience. The game features a fantastic soundtrack with original J-pop songs performed by characters. These performances are integrated into the gameplay, enhancing the overall experience and making it more memorable. Each character has their own side stories and personal growth arcs, which are explored through side quests. These quests often accumulate in high quality music videos, adding depth to the characters and making them more relatable. Unlike some other JRPGs that can be quite dark and serious, Tokyo Mirage Sessions maintains a lighter, more upbeat tone that makes it a great choice for players looking for a fun and less intense RPG experience. It was always going to be a very difficult task to follow up the success of Ys 8, which is arguably the best in the Ys series. However, Ys 9 is still a massively underlooked entry into the series. The game features fast-paced act and combat that is both satisfying and accessible. The addition of monstrum abilities adds a new layer of strategy and excitement to the battles. The game introduces new movement abilities that make exploring the city a joy, and these abilities allow for vertical exploration, adding depth to the game's world. The Gothic city provides a unique and immersive setting. The darker, more brooding atmosphere is a departure from the previous game's tropical setting, offering a fresh experience to players. The music in Ys 9 is still very good and enhances the overall atmosphere of the game, and the soundtrack is known for its high energy tracks that complement the action and exploration. The game includes numerous side quests that flesh out the world and its inhabitants, and these quests often provide additional character development and lore, making the world feel more alive. Overall, Ys 9 still stands out due to its engaging combat, compelling characters and immersive setting. So if you enjoyed Ys 8, definitely give Ys 9 a go, because it's still a fantastic game that is massively underlooked. Saga Frontier Remastered received mixed reviews. The game retains many of the original mechanics, which some players found outdated and a little bit cumbersome. The lack of guidance and steep learning curve were particularly frustrating for new players. The narrative and world building were often criticised for being underdeveloped. Many felt that the stories were more like outlines rather than fully fleshed out narratives, making the game feel a little bit incomplete. While the remaster improved the graphics, some players felt the game still looked dated, and the balance between nostalgia and modernity didn't quite hit the mark for everyone. Despite the criticisms though, the remaster did update the graphics, I would say, including improved character sprites and backgrounds, giving the game a fresher look while retaining its classic charm. The remaster also included previously cut content such as the characters' fused storylines, and this edition provides new scenarios and endings, adding more depth to the game. Several modern conveniences have also been added, such as a fast forward option for battles and autosave feature. These changes help streamline the gameplay experience. The user interface has been updated as well to be more user friendly, making it easier to navigate menus and manage your party. And there's also new events and cutscenes that have been added to enrich the story and provide more content to the characters' journeys. Overall, these updates have actually made the overall experience much better, and if you're on the fence about trying this and you can find it for cheap in a bargain bin, definitely give this one a go. Any of these JRPGs you think should have been left in the graveyard? Let me know in the comments below, or will you be trying any of these? Do feel free to let me know. If you've enjoyed the video and enjoyed JRPG content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel, and until next time, I'll see you later.